The news says a hosepipe ban starts Friday. Your neighbor says you cannot water anything. The forum says you will be fined if you try. Nearly all of that is wrong. A hosepipe ban has rules, and most gardeners have never read them. I am Michael. I drive buses in Belfast, and I have read the actual hosepipe ban rules so you do not have to. Today, what a hosepipe ban really forbids, and the list of what you are still allowed to do. It is longer than you think. Before the rules, the mood. Because when a ban lands, British gardeners do not reach for the rule book first. They reach for the keyboard. When the last ban was rolling in, one post on the UK Gardening Forum said it plainly. Water companies have paid out £51 billion in dividends and built no new reservoirs in 30 years. Nearly 500 gardeners upvoted that. The top reply worked through water companies, energy companies, and the trains in that order. I am not here to check those figures. I am here to tell you the feeling behind them is everywhere, and I share it. Leaks that sit for months, bills that climb, and now the garden pays for it. But here is the thing. Two facts can be true at once. The company failed to plan and the reservoir is still empty. A ban is like roadworks on my bus route. Nobody asked me. Nobody apologized. The bus still has to reach the stop. Your anger is justified. Your tomatoes are still thirsty. So let us read the rules. What actually happens is this. A water company declares what the law calls a temporary use ban. 3 dull words, and every one of them is doing work. Temporary. It ends. Usually when the rain comes back and the reservoirs recover, nobody is taking your hosepipe away for good. Use. This is the important one. The ban forbids certain uses of a hosepipe. It does not ration your water, and it does not ban you. It names a list of activities and says, not with a hose you don't, and ban means ban. This is law, not advice. Break it and the courts can fine you up to £1,000. Now, how often that fine has actually been handed out is a story of its own, and it gets a full episode later this series. For today, treat the rules as real, but here is the bit most people miss. There is no national ban and no national rule book. Each company writes its own notice, its own list of banned uses, and its own exemptions. What your neighbor heard about his ban may simply not be true of yours. Keep that in your pocket. It matters twice before the end. So what goes on the banned list? 4 things, on nearly every notice in the country. First to go is the sprinkler. A sprinkler is a hose pipe that waters while you sleep, and the companies know it. Second, watering the garden with a hose pipe in your hand. That gentle evening hose over the borders. Banned. Third, washing the car with a hose pipe at home. Fourth, cleaning paths, patios, and decking with a hose pipe or a pressure washer. Now look at that list again, because those 4 have something in common. None of them is a crime against plants. Every one of them is water moving in bulk with no effort from you. Remember term 2. A garden hose pipe shifts about 1,000 liters in an hour, and your arm never feels a drop of it. That is more than many households use in a day, gone into the gravel while you daydream. Effortless water is exactly what a drought cannot afford. And that one idea, effort, is about to turn this whole ban upside down. Stay with me. Here is the sentence your neighbor has not read. A hosepipe ban bans the pipe, not the water. Read your notice and you will see it. Nothing in a temporary use ban stops you drawing tap water for your garden. You can fill a watering can from the kitchen tap all day, every day, perfectly legally. The law does not care how much water reaches your dahlias. It cares how the water travels. Through a hose, forbidden. Carried by hand, fill your boots. During the last dry summer, someone on the UK forum asked if anyone else was worried about the bans coming. The top answer was 2 words long, watering cans. Nearly 300 gardeners upvoted it, a national survival plan in 2 words. and it happens to be legally accurate. Now, before you call the whole thing a farce, look at the physics of it. A hosepipe moves 1,000 liters while you daydream. A watering can makes every single liter pass through your hands. Every full can weighs on your arm the whole way to the bed. Nobody sloshes 40 cans across the lawn for fun. The moment water has weight, you start deciding which plants deserve it. That is the quiet genius of the rule. The ban does not ration water, it rations effort, and effort makes gardeners honest. The meter still ticks, mind, but the law will not knock. So build the legal list and pin it to the shed door. First, the watering can, unlimited refills, straight from the mains, no questions asked. Slow, yes, we will deal with slow in a minute. Second, rainwater. The ban is a creature of the mains network. The water in your butt fell out of the sky, and under every notice I have read, your own rainwater is your business. Check yours anyway. Third, gray water. Washing up bowls, cooled bath water. Most notices leave it alone and the garden will take it. Let it cool, keep it off anything you eat raw, and do not make it a lifestyle. Term 1 has the full rules if you miss them. And fourth, the interesting one. On many notices, drip irrigation is listed as an exemption, a watering system running legally in the middle of a ban. There are conditions, and there is a trap in the small print about sprayers. That is not a footnote, that is next week's whole episode, so hold your fire on that one. For now, just know the door exists. Right? Everything on that legal list is slower than a hose, which means you cannot water everything you used to. That is not defeat, that is triage. On a wet Friday with a full bus, somebody boards first. Same here, priority boarding for the garden. First on pots and hanging baskets. Smallest tanks in the garden. Remember, a basket can run dry in a single hot day, and it has no deep soil to borrow from. Second, anything you planted this year. New trees, new shrubs, new perennials. Their roots have not reached the deep water yet, so they live or die by your can. Third, fruiting vegetables, tomatoes, courgettes, beans, and flour. Miss their drink and the crop does not pause, it just fails. Fourth, the established beds. But check first, at dawn, not at tea time. A border that droops in afternoon heat is usually performing, not dying. If it still looks limp at first light, it boards the bus. And last, the lawn. Or rather, not the lawn. A brown lawn is not a dead lawn, it is asleep, and the autumn rain will wake it. That story gets a full episode soon. Wherever the can does go, pour at the roots in the morning and mulch over the wet ground to lock it in. Which brings me to the kit on my own tap, because ban season is exactly when zones earn their keep. The Johgee 4-zone timer. 1 outdoor tap, 4 outlets, each on its own schedule. When rules tighten, I do not dismantle anything. The lawn sprinkler zone goes dark with 1 tap of the app. The greenhouse drip carries on, if my region allows it, on its usual morning run. Each zone switches off on its own, and the rest of the garden never notices. Now the honest bit, and it matters more this episode than most. No timer makes you exempt from a ban. Not this one, not any. The exemption, where it exists, belongs to drip irrigation as a method, and your water company decides that, not the box on your tap. And if your whole garden is a few pots by the door, keep your money. The can is free, and the exercise is thrown in. One last job, and it is homework, but it is 5 minutes of homework. Find your own rule book. Not the national news, and not your neighbor. Bans are declared company by company. Cross one county line and the rulebook can change. So skip the rumors and go to the source. Your water company's website, the page with the notice on it. Every company that declares a ban publishes one, and it is shorter than you fear. It gives you 3 things: the date it starts, the list of banned uses, and the exemptions. 5 minutes with that page answers what no forum thread can. Whether your drip line is exempt, whether a hose from your water butt is fine, and what happens to allotments, which is a story with a twist, later this series. Read it once and you will know your rights for the whole summer, because here is the difference it makes. The gardener who read the notice waters in peace. The gardener who trusted the rumor apologizes over the fence